What's happening, boys? We're back again with your favorite podcast, the After Hours Dialogue, brought to you by Nipo Pungula, your host and co-host Mo, at the back. We're here speaking about another topic that South Africans have been speaking about for quite some time now, and that is education. Yes, listen, Oaks, we are black, as you can tell that I'm black at least. Mo, you don't know his race. I'm not giving it out. But listen, I'm black. And my parents grew up in apartheid. So did their parents, my grandparents, and so on and so on. And, in their brain, education was the golden ticket to the ideal life. But in 2025, boys, unemployment rate post graduating university is quite high. If I'm not mistaken, globally speaking, we're number one. No, that's not a flex. It's quite disappointing, but it is true at the end of the day. Mo, tell me, what do you think about this topic we're due to speak about?
Yeah, bro, I think it's a very pressing topic. Like you said, we have the highest unemployment rate globally. I think it's actually approximately 32.9%.
That's
right?
ridiculous.
Absolute joke. And the youth unemployment rate, specifically for those aged 15 to 34, is even higher, with 46.1% of young people unemployed in the country.
That's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. I mean, Oaks, you know, the dream was go to preschool, primary school, secondary, tertiary, get the degree. After that, get a job. After getting a job, live the perfect life. You're at home, you got your girl, got your kids, you're making enough money. Both of you are making enough money, and we're going to get to that. Both of you are making enough money, and you're living soft. But it doesn't turn out that way, does it? How many of us, post our academic careers, are still jobless? We thought education, we thought that the degree was the golden ticket to the life, the ideal life that we always wanted. It turns out, boys, for years, we were just making what? Monthly donations to a blazer company. It's ridiculous, boys. But here we are, and this is the reality of things. Mo, let's kick this off. Do you think, generally speaking, a degree is worth it in South Africa?
Um, I'd say yes, but I think every day degrees are losing value. And I think now it's more about what you study. Because I think in the past, if you had a degree in general, I think it set you up for a pretty decent life, and you could pivot quite easily into different realms. I think now it's just way too competitive,
Oversaturated, you'd say.
quite oversaturated. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, Mo, like I actually thought about this. You'd be surprised as to how far one could go with common sense. Bro, that same, and I speak to you guys, the viewers, think about it. That degree that you're studying for, how many people are going to graduate in that same degree, in your same campus, that same year? How many people are going to graduate same year, same degree in the entire country? How many people graduated with that exact same degree the year prior? And how many people are still yet to graduate with that exact same degree the year next? And so on and so on. To put a long story short, each year the degree just becomes that much more useless because there's fewer people leaving the workforce than people being added onto it each year, which means the degree ends up mattering less and less and less. So is it really a golden ticket? I believe that in order to make it, you would have to pave your own path because that's the only way you're truly going to be able to get things done. You know what I mean? But Mo, tell me, what do you think about that? Do I sound deluded? Do I sound like a hater when saying such? Saying that as time goes on, the degree just becomes more useless.
The thing is, yeah, that's the reality of things. I think, especially with artificial intelligence, many of those jobs that people are studying for won't exist.
Obsolete.
You get me? I mean, why hire a 24-year-old who's going to demand 30 to 50K a month when,
and need leave.
yeah,
If it's a
exactly.
woman, she's
Yeah.
gonna have to go on maternity leave most likely than not. That is true.
I mean, you have to think as a CEO, would you
Yeah,
rather, I
got to
don't
cut the
know,
cost.
exactly, would you rather not pay, I don't know, how much is like a good AI subscription?
Less than a human being. I can tell you that
Definitely, yeah.
much.
Like a few $100s a month.
Exactly. Like, bro, I'm gonna ask you. We went to private schools. Everybody knows now, especially from the past episode. Do you think they prepared us for the real world or just exams?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Because the thing is this, right? I mean, we've all heard it before, the cliche. In the real world, you get the test before studying, and then you learn the lesson after writing the test. Figuratively speaking, when I say writing the test. But then in school, you study first, you prepare for the test that's yet to come. So do you think that school prepared us for the real world, or was it all just a scam, really? What do you think? Because we just said this, the unemployment rate is through the roof. You're thinking, yo, you're gonna leave school, because think about it, right? With us, we come from privilege. So after graduating from university, your parents probably have enough cash if you're in our circle to pay off the fees. But the average South African has to pay off the school fees. The average South African enters the workforce with debt they need to pay, and they still need to take on even more debt because they need a car, they need somewhere to live, they need somewhere to stay. So they have even more debt. So they start the game having to repay. They can't even reap the fruits of their labor. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know, perhaps I sound ludicrous, but to me this all makes sense. So what are you saying, Mom? I think I'm quite right.
Yeah, nah, I think to some extent, I think, yeah, you're right, bro. I mean, now, like I said, I think it's just all about what you study, niching it down and doing something that, thousands of other people can't do, firstly. But even once you have the degree, it's about differentiating yourself, making yourself stand out. How are you going to be the standout candidate? And I think it is getting harder, bro. I think in a few years it's going to be borderline impossible to just do a very general degree and enter the workforce.
I mean, bro, like, I'm not saying that degrees don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a hater. But what I am saying is the degree you're studying matters more than just having a degree. Like, bro, gender studies. Let's keep it a bean. You're not gonna get paid for that, Crody. You're not. Mate, you're studying what? Philosophy. Brother, you're here studying philosophy, but if you were to think about it, bro, you're philosophizing. Is that even a word? I don't know. But you're trying to find out how you're gonna pay your rent. You here studying drama. The real drama is that debit order at the end of the month, brother. Like, let's keep it a bean. Let's be honest. That's the real drama you should be thinking of. You should be philosophizing as to how you're gonna, actually make more cash, actually pay the debts off, pay for the water bill, pay for the electricity bill. You know what I mean? But if I'm gonna go to school, mate, medicine, engineering, and so on, the sciences and the stuff that just makes money seems like something reasonable to do, you know? But to go just to get a degree it's ludicrous.
So do you think the youth are being misguided on purpose?
I mean, you could argue that, because you have to understand, right? Like, everybody knows, you can go to the bank and get a loan to go to school, even if the degree that you're studying is a degree that's led and practiced by donkeys. Gender studies, let's be honest, no one's trying to hear that shit. No one's trying to, bro, like, you know the deal. But the bank will give you a loan for that. But you want a loan to start a business, you want a loan to actually make some cash, it's going to be more difficult. They'll probably even tell you no. You go to the bank, they'll give you the loan because they know you're going to have to pay it back with interest. They make money off of you going to school, even though you're studying something that doesn't even matter. I think the entire thing is a dupe, if I'm being honest. Generally speaking, it is. If you're not going to university to study medicine, engineering, law, and so on, why on earth are you there? Because you're afraid of your rents. Because you got pressured by your parents, mate. Come on, like let's be honest. At the end of the day, you're the one who's gonna pay. So yeah, you might be like, yeah, I'm at school right now, studying something that, quite frankly, not only doesn't make me cash by the time I get the degree or post getting the degree, but it isn't fulfilling. You're the one who's paying, even though you weren't, because I got pressured by my rents. They told me they're gonna kick me out. On a balance of probability, bruv, they're not gonna kick you out. As long as you show them that you're onto something serious and you're not wasting your life. I'm not saying they'll let it slide, and if they do, they won't let it slide easily, but mate, they'd have to be quite gone up here. They'd have to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to actually kick you out of the crib just because you're pursuing something that probably does make cash, because I'm assuming you're not pursuing something that makes no shekels, no bread, you know? As long as you're onto something, you're driven, I'm sure they'll probably be understanding. And if they're not, they're donkeys. Just keep it a bean, bro. But yes, bro, like, Mo, let me ask you. I actually wrote this question down so I don't get it wrong. Brother, which degree do you think is the biggest scam? Let's keep it a bean. These guys can't even see you. They can't even see you. Like, which degree you listen to and you're like, yo, this person here is just donating to the educational system. They're not here to make money.
I think BA General, I think that, yeah, I think it's a 3-year waste of time, I'll be honest.
Facts.
Because there's no niche. I mean, then after that, you're going to have to pay to get into honors and masters in something that you haven't been specializing in for the past 3 years already for your undergraduate. I think it's a bit of a scam.
Facts. Like, listen, everybody who's done a BA General, let's keep it a bean. Like, I think they do it I'm pretty sure they do it because of their ends. I mean, I don't think people actually willingly choose, BA General. I think they're like, okay, I have to go to university. My parents are forcing me to go to university, and I'm going to pick a BA General. Like, bro, I'm going to be honest, dude. Women who study BA Generals are the easiest to get. Like, word, bro. They have all the time in the world. Yo, number one question after asking her name, what do you study? If the answer is BA General, she's getting piped out. Easy, same night. Word 2. That one there is a guaranteed win, bro. She's getting cracked same night. BA General, bruv. Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a bean. She's in the bag already. People who study BA Generals are people who just have time to waste. But, brother, there's no time to waste in life. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely... I definitely say, if she's studying BA General Oaks, like, that's an easy goal to crack. Like, I'm sorry. She's getting piped out. Easy. Same night. If it takes you more than a week to crack a hun who's doing a BA General, bruv, you don't have game. Word 2. She doesn't want you. Word 2. But listen, fuck it. I was going to say I don't want any smoke. I want all the smoke. What are they going to do about it? Huns who study BA Generals, easy. Gents who study BA Generals probably don't even go to gym. Word 2. Listen, I'm not trying to get too amped up. I feel like it's a bit too early for that. I don't even know how long we've been recording for, but we're going to move on to the next thing. Yo, Mo, I'm going to ask you. We're going to get serious now because the joking side, we're done. Listen, Mo, do you think schools should be pushing entrepreneurship instead of BA Generals? Like, let's keep it a bean. Because I think...
So, with, like, the universities?
Universities. Do you think they should be pushing entrepreneurship? Because I think, yeah, they should, morally speaking, but it'll go against them making money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I don't even think you need tertiary education for entrepreneurship, perhaps. I think now there's just so much access to information that what can that lecturer, an entrepreneurship lecture, tell you that, for example, a book from a multimillionaire couldn't exactly, I mean, I'd certainly rather listen to the CEO of Nike and read his book and read his insights than a lecturer who, not to be, I don't want to trivialize it, and I know it's a cliche, but that lecturer probably doesn't own their own business, you know. At the end
Facts.
of the day,
Talking about shit they don't know about.
they're just regurgitating pieces of information that they've also studied. So I don't know.
Like, bro, like if you were to add up all the cash you're spending, especially as a parent, you add up all the monetary expense that you had to undergo whilst your kid was at varsity, surely it's breached like R1 million. You don't think, Mo, or near that amount? Do you honestly think that that amount of money is worth getting paid 15K a month, bro? 20K a month? Like, let's be real. You mean to tell me you were in school for this long, gents? Oh my days. You studied a degree for at least 4 years, brother. And at the end of it, not only do you have to pay off debt, but you're getting paid what? 20K ZAW per month. Let's keep it a bean. That's not worth it. That's just, bro, it's ludicrous, bro. It's donkey talk. You know what I mean? That's just something. I'm using common sense, and I'm not even trying to sound like a hater, but what I'm saying is logical at the end of the day. 15K per month, that's what you get paid. That's your paycheck each month. And you spend how much cash on the education, and you're still yet to pay off student loan debts afterwards. Perhaps you're privileged enough to not do that because your rent's paid off. But on a balance of probability to the average South African, you're probably not. And you still have to pay. To me, it's not worth it. Yeah, I'd ask Mo if he agrees, but come on. I don't think anybody could possibly disagree with that. Do you know what I mean?
So what do you... Okay, let me give you a scenario.
Yeah.
Right? Your 17, 16-year-old cousin comes to you and they say, Nipo, I'm getting to the point where I need to start applying for varsity, etc., etc. What advice would you honestly give him?
The first thing I'd ask, okay, what are you trying to study?
Okay, so let's go 2 ways with the scenario.
Okay.
So, number one, the guy's absolutely clueless, doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right? And he doesn't have anything substantial like in the background. So it's not like he's gonna maybe play professional sports or
Okay.
maybe undertake, I don't know, music.
He doesn't have a calling. He doesn't.
He's absolutely clueless.
Okay.
And then the second scenario, he tells you he wants to do BA General.
Okay. Does he have ambition? Let's ask that.
Yeah, he's ambitious. He's an ambitious guy.
And he wants to make money.
Yeah, and you regularly have conversations about life with him. He's still young, remember. He's still
Yeah,
impressionable. So
okay,
what
then-
you say is going to stick with him.
Bro, listen, there's no way I'm about to tell a gent, go do a BA General. Like, bruv, bro, you're just donating to university at that point. Like a BA General, Oaks, like, come on. Even when I say it just sounds like a joke. Let's keep BA, oh, man. Oaks, I tell him, you like, he's ambitious, as you said, right? I tell him, yo, listen, make cash. And yes, that's very vague. Okay, how does he make money? Well, that's where we start. Okay, like, what is he into? There's loads of ways to make cash. That's the one thing I tell him to do. You know, maybe even tell him, yo, join Hustlers. I'm joking. I was gonna say join Hustlers University, but I'm like, yo, listen, we're gonna let down right now. I'm not trying to, you know, but yeah. In fact, that actually wouldn't even be a bad idea if we would actually if we actually would have deepened. Okay. I'd actually prefer, on a serious note now, I think it actually makes significantly more sense to join Hustlers University than do a BA General. Like, let's actually deep this. And I thought of this just now. Like, I was actually trolling in the beginning, and I'm not even endorsed. But like, Oaks, think about it. BA General or Hustlers University. Nah, Oaks, I'm not even endorsed. But like, let's actually think about this. I think you'd actually make more money and get further doing the latter. I don't know. What are you saying, Mo? It was banter in the beginning, but now I'm actually thinking, I'm like, yo.
How much is Hustlers University?
Dude, Hustlers University is like
$50 a month.
Yeah, it's like $50 a month. $50 a month in ZAW is what, bro? I want to be accurate because people are going to say, nah, it's not that much. Let me search this. Oaks. Oh my days, why it's taking me so much time? $50 in ZAR is 800. You are lost in my days. 878 rand. So it's 879. Bro, it's 880 a month. And I think you'd earn more money being in Hustlers University. I'm not even endorsed. So people are gonna look at me and be like, yo, I'm not even on Hustlers University. Maybe I actually see what's going on. But like Oaks, BA General, there's no way you're just picking BA General over Hustlers University. Mo, oh, you mean to tell me, listen, you have a cousin. He's saying, okay, listen, BA General, Hustlers University. You telling me you're gonna tell him to pick BA General?
Yeah, unfortunately not.
And BA General is even more expensive. It's more expensive.
Way more expensive. But okay, back to the scenario, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, because we started off by talking about the unemployment crisis in the country.
Yeah.
Let's say he did want to do something that I guess is deemed respectable, like a respectable degree, but it's highly competitive. So, for example, we understand that in the financial sector, in terms of education, there's I guess at the top you'd say actuarial science.
Yeah.
Then maybe below that like a BCom accounting, and then below that maybe a BCom finance or economics, etc., etc. If he were to come to you and say, Nipo, listen, I really want to do, I don't know, BCom economics or something that's
it's competitive.
There's going to be a lot of people graduating with that degree, but you need to emphasize that he needs to put in the work.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to graduate top of his class. He needs to graduate with distinction to stand a chance of getting a decent job.
Well, that makes significantly more sense. You know what I mean? If it's competitive and like people are constantly dropping out because it's so competitive, I mean, I can't hate. And plus, at the end of those degrees, you make money, do you not? Exactly. So that makes sense. You know, you're doing actuarial sciences.
Is, like we've spoken about, I'm saying not the top like actuarial science, the BCom.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, let's say he enters a very mainstream degree that's still respectable, like BCom economics, right?
Okay.
And at the end of it, right, he's guaranteed to graduate. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But like we spoke about first, bro. There's a huge unemployment crisis. Yeah. So he's not even guaranteed a job with that degree.
Okay, what are the odds he gets? It's like 50-50.
Exactly, 50-50.
And when he graduates, is it like a summa cum laude?
He's doing a degree in which he has to get
Graduate.
close to cum laude to stand a chance of getting a really good job. So it's not just easy pickings like an actuarial science student, for example.
Okay, wait. Okay, so with him, is there passion there? Is there passion? Because that's a determining factor. Is there passion?
I just think he's just taking the path most followed, you know. I guess, let's say he got 75 for accounting at school, decently smart, you know. It's just what he wants to do because, you know, he can't qualify for...
And his ambition? How ambitious is he out of 10?
You're adding lots of variables.
No, because it makes a difference. Because if you're telling me, okay, you're telling me all those facts, but then his ambition is through the roof,
Yeah.
then I'll be like, okay, go do it. Because I know, I mean, he's a killer, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be a dog about it, you know?
Let's say he's as ambitious as the average student. So, for example, he will go to university, he will party, he will skip a few lectures because he's too
Actually,
hungover.
do it, because you're not a serious gen anyway, you know what I mean? Just do it, bruv, because I'll tell you now, don't go to school and then do something separate. But somebody who's like that, average ambition, bro, you might as well just go to school
So that's
and
interesting.
get it done.
So even for your own kids, you'd look at the level of ambition.
Bro, ambition, especially as a gen, needs to be through the roof, you know? And ambition doesn't necessarily mean you're CEO. Do you see what I mean? Because not everybody can be CEO. You can be CEO, CFO, COO, but ambition just means being the best you could possibly be. You know what I mean? I'm not saying everybody should be a leader. I'm not saying everybody should be a general. Everybody should be apex predator. you know? But be that type of person who always wants more. If they've got that, then I'd say, yeah, we're on the right path, you know? But if one of those guys, okay, he's skipping lectures, he's going out partying, and it's to an extent where it's like, okay, this guy clearly doesn't want more for himself, dude, you might as well just let it slide. I mean, you can, what's that saying? You can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Like, you might as well just let it slide. I'm not trying to waste any time, you know? So, like, that's the timing that I'm on with that one. And also, I think with university, like, it's a trap, bro. As we spoke earlier, it's a money trap. Like, you're spending how much cash for a degree that only gets you, what, 15K each month, and then you're still gonna have debt right after, and you're still gonna get taxed. Like, it doesn't make sense, bro.
So, what piece of advice would you give to young matriculants now who, because you are open about the fact that you didn't go to
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know if I
university.
clarified that. Oaks, I didn't go to varsity, word two. Because I'm like, I can't fall for a dupe like that. But that's me personally. Because I won't lie, and this goes into the question that you're about to ask me right now. Like, bro, I got lucky. Perhaps you could call it like a miracle or a gift from God. I knew what my purpose was from early on. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted from life. Most people, I don't think, do know that. You know what I mean? I don't have any existential problems. I don't look in the mirror and not know who I am or what I want. You know, I'm privileged in knowing what I want. I have, I've got drive. I've got my eyes on something that I've been wanting for years. Most people don't have that, you know? In fact, before I actually assume the question, ask me the question verbatim. Because I don't want to answer something I wasn't asked, you know what I mean?
No, I understand. Yeah, so for example, the confused 16, 17-year-olds right now who like want to go down the path less traveled, which still at this time is not going to university. What would you say to them, and how do they go about it? What conversations do they need to have with their parents? Do they need to present a game plan, etc., etc.?
I'd say the first thing you need to know is, what do you want from life? You know what I mean? And that could mean many things. Do you want cash? How much cash do you want? Like, do you want to be at an extreme, you know, where you're earning millions and you're traveling the globe whenever you want? Or are you trying to be living in Waterfall, cozy, two ranges and a Beamer? I mean, we first have to find out the level of ambition that they have. But at the end of the day, bro, if you've got decent parents and you tell them, okay, I don't think varsity is the right move, but they can clearly see that you've got drive, they can clearly see that you're onto something, they're not going to kick you out, bro. And you have to understand the hate always comes before the results, because the same people hating on you for not going to university are the same people who are going to call you a genius when you actually find out what you're meant to do and start earning loads of bread. Do you know what I mean? So first you have to have a vision yourself. You can't be like, okay, I don't want to go to varsity, but at the same time, I don't know what I want from life. At that point, it's like you're not giving anybody anything to work with, you know? You need to have that drive, that vision. You need to know yourself, what do I want from life?
Do you not think that, okay, first of all, do you not think that the pendulum is shifting, especially because of social media, that people are realizing that there are many other routes to take? So first of all, can you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, the pendulum is most certainly shifting. Oaks, the internet changed the game entirely. Took the board and flipped it upside down. You have to understand, when our were our age, when they were our age, they didn't have the internet, boys. Right now, possibilities are endless. Right now, as I speak, you could be anywhere around the globe. You could be in the United Kingdom. You could be United States. You could be in Australia. And you're listening to what I'm saying. You know who I am because of the internet. The range of possibilities it's limitless now, especially with regarding to AI. So do you need university? Absolutely not. You don't. Especially when you're talking about making extreme sums of money. Mate, there's no degree on the planet, I don't care where you go, whether it be Oxford or Harvard, that's gonna pay you over $1 million USDs per month. That's not happening. When it comes to me, I'm using USDs on purpose because that's the general currency, you know? But when it comes to making over 1 million USDs in a year, Oaks, you either have to be an athlete, an entertainer, or an entrepreneur. And some could lump an entertainer with an athlete, but one of the three, in order to be in order to be a billionaire, you'd have to be an entrepreneur. And what all three have in common is that you don't need a degree. When you're talking about making extreme sums of income, mate, there's no university that's going to teach you how to do that.
Okay. You know, I love playing devil's advocate. I
Yeah.
say every episode. Do you not think that that's also a bit of a harmful message? Because now, since the inception of the internet, right, we agree that influencers like Andrew Tate, etc., have been villainized in the sense that they speak in absolutes. And when you speak in absolutes to a younger audience,
It's hard for them to actually get the
exactly.
message.
So, for example, a kid in India could be listening to you right now, right? And he unfortunately has to go to university. You know, how could you tell that kid not to go down the path that he needs to go down in order to put food on the table? You know, you can't tell him to get on his grind and start making a business when he can barely afford internet, etc. He has to work.
I mean, that is true, and life is all about circumstances. And I don't mean to be speaking in absolutes, but what I'm trying to say is that education is not the golden ticket as it once was. More people have degrees than ever, but more people are unemployed than ever as well. And it's even worse now because you've got the degree. Being unemployed without a degree makes more sense than being unemployed with a degree. But it's all about circumstances. If you're in a state right now where it's like, yo, I have to work to put food on the table, you're gonna have to do that. But how long you do that for, that's actually up to you, because you don't have to do it forever. I know it's a cliche and we've heard it our entire lives. Where there's a will, there's a way. I guarantee it. If you were to just grind, if you really have that ambition that you think you have and you're willing to do whatever it takes, guaranteed you're gonna make it. It's like going on a long run, irregardless as to how difficult the route is, irregardless as to how difficult the run is. As long as you put one foot in front of the other, it's a guarantee you're going to breach the final kilometer. If it's a race, you will cross the finish line. I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker, but I believe I'm just speaking facts. It only makes sense. But yeah, Mo, I mean, it's all about circumstances at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, regarding education, we went to private schools. Do you think, let's say, okay, we go the traditional route, private school, university, get the degree, and let's say we're up against somebody who went to a public school, right? And we both want the same job. Do you think it makes a difference as to which school you're schooled from, personally?
I think perhaps, but I also think university is the leveler in the sense that when you put pen to paper, you know, when you're writing your test, the test doesn't discriminate. You know?
Yeah.
It can't tell if you're from private school, it can't tell if you're from public school, it can't tell if you are 17, it can't tell if you're 18, you know. So I think it is indeed the leveler. I think the narrative that has always been pushed onto us was the fact that in that boardroom, you know, when we do graduate, right, the rooms that we are able to get into as private school kids, that's what our parents paid the big money for. I don't know if that's still true now, but yeah, I think that's when the type of school that you went to matters most.
Yeah, no, I see. Because also, like, this is a point I wanted to bring, like, to point out before, right, regarding, you know, the whole private school thing, right? With my parents, especially my mother in particular, when she put me in private school, yes, it was about the education, you know, and being under IEB and whatnot. But I think it's also about the lessons you learn that, you know, are outside of formal education. Like, in private schools, they don't tolerate violence. for example. I mean, if you're trying to squabble during break, mate, you're getting suspended at least, if not expelled. You know what I mean? You don't, like, there's this level of, like, the way you act, you know, in a private school, the way somebody from a private school acts is quite different when juxtaposed to somebody who is from a public school. Would you agree or would you disagree? Like, I feel as though people from private schools are more, like, I don't want to say they're more disciplined, but to a certain extent they are. Like, they're less likely to get rowdy. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I feel.
Oh, mate, you love controversy.
But it's true, bro. Like, dude, like, listen, word is people from private schools and public schools actually are trying to squabble with the teachers, bruv. Like, yo, can you trying to squabble, bro? Trying to bully the scene in the classroom. Public schools, like, that's what they're saying is going on there, you know? You can't get away with that in private schools. They don't, like, these gens don't mess around, bro. The slightest bit of disrespect, violence, oh my goodness, violence they don't tolerate at all. You're getting sent straight home. And, yo, depending on what type of parents you have, you might just get the brakes beaten off you. You know what I'm saying? But I'd argue that people from public schools, generally, I'm speaking anecdotally, seem to be less disciplined, more likely to get rowdy. You know what I mean? Respect authority to a lesser degree than somebody from a private school. That's my perception. Perhaps I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, I am speaking anecdotally. What do you think, Mo? I like to think that I'm right.
So, like, on the main point of, in 2025, doesn't matter if you went to private versus public?
Let's start there.
I think, factually, like, you still graduate with the matric, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, you will stand a higher chance of probably going to university. Yes, that's true. But that person from a public school who's just as smart as you are, I don't think you've been advantaged to the extent where they've been disadvantaged by going to a public school. However, I think it's an interesting topic because I think you pay for more when it comes to a private school. I don't think you're just paying for the matric, you know? It's not as simple or as trivial as college, where college you are paying for that piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know? But I think you pay for experiences, like you say, you pay for discipline, you pay for connections, you pay for mindset shifts, you know? I mean, it's like billionaires don't view 10 Rand as a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas a poverty-stricken individual obviously views that 10 Rand as a whole lot. But I think that mindset shift, I think that's something that private schools instill in you, you know, to view the world.
It's not mistake the trees for the forest.
Exactly.
See the bigger picture.
Exactly. And I think those small things are definitely worth the money. But I mean, on a superficial level, if you're purely just there to send your child to get an education, to get that piece of paper, no, I don't know. It's a bit too nuanced.
It's a tough one.
You know?
Yeah, it is nuanced. But then regarding the question as well, with public school gents being ill-disciplined when juxtaposed to private school gents, what do you think? I think somebody from a public school is far more likely to get rowdy. You know what I mean? And that could be anywhere, even in the workplace. Do you think you can tell the difference when in university or even in the workplace with somebody who was from a private school and somebody from a public school, irregardless of accent, just pure action?
Just pure action.
Do you think you could tell the difference? Be honest, they can't see you, bro. They can't see you. They can't cancel you, bro.
On a surface level, I don't think it stands out as much as people try to make it be. But I think there's certain, like I said, there's certain attitudes, there's certain mindsets that you can tell. You know.
Give me an example.
Okay, put me on the spot here.
Nah, don't worry, I'll give you time to think. But like, I genuinely believe, like as I said, like I just think. And this isn't me thinking that I'm better than people who went to public schools, because just like most people who went to private schools, it's not as though we deserved it. We just got lucky. You know what I mean? We're just fortunate enough to be in a household where it's affordable, you know? It's not me thinking, yo, I'm better than you. Bro, I got lucky. That's just the way it is. And mate, the last thing I'll do is feel bad for being lucky. That's just something that's not gonna happen. But yeah, man, I just think they're more likely to get rowdy. That's just the way that I am, bro. Like with me personally, especially when in a situation with somebody, the last thing I'll do is get physical. Because in my brain, like, yo, the first person to get physical is probably the one with, the lowest IQ. That's just the way I'm thinking, bro. It's a bit barbaric, you know?
It's quite ironic you being a boxer.
Exactly. But like, Oaks, I don't engage in combat outside of the ring. I'm pure discipline, pure professional. You know what I mean? I'm not a barbarian. I'm not a savage. I'm civilized and cultured. That's who I am.
So, do you think traditional education done?
Brother, in 20 years, that shit, it's not gonna matter, bro. Let's be honest. These guys are running out of cash. I think people are waking up right now in 2025. You've got AI, you've got people who are learning Forex from a 10-minute TikTok and earning more than a lawyer. You know what I mean?
So do you think, who suffers first? Do you think it will get to a point where even traditional schooling, like primary, secondary, high school, do you think it will get to a point where we're not even putting our children in traditional schools and we're saying, listen, just watch this YouTube video, or how, what do you think?
Yeah, bro, as Darwin once said, it's not the strong that survives, it's the species that's most able to adapt. Adaptation is necessary all the time. If schools are going to continue operating as though it's, 1990, 1980s, early 2000s, pre-internet, bro, they're going to become obsolete.
So you're saying it's up to the schools now to be innovative,
They have to
change their syllabus.
Because if they don't, they're gonna stop getting money. Unemployment rate is through the roof, brother. Post getting a degree, why on earth you still sending your kids to school, paying God knows how many thousands of ZAR? Some of you even a million, because you've got more than one kid. All for what? Graduate, be what? Getting paid a couple thousand.
So which institutions do you think will suffer first? Do you think it would be a domino effect from the top, as in unis? We'll see a drastic decrease in the number of
I think it'll start at university for sure.
And then how long do you think before it starts hitting the high schools where they're like, listen?
Bro, I'm sure by the time 20 years hits, it would have already started. 110%. Oaks, we've been going on for some time. I don't even know. Might even have to cut this one short, but I probably won't because I don't have enough energy to edit that much. Yes, we edit this pod, all episodes on our own. And yeah, I don't know how long we've been speaking for. But I hope you lot have enjoyed the episode. We most certainly have. We are focused on making sure that you guys get, the best content. We don't want you guys to just be entertained without being, as ironic as it is, educated. We don't want hollow entertainment. We want you guys to learn something, get you guys thinking, get a bit controversial, because why on earth not? Listen, it's been your host, Nipo Pungula, After Hours Dialogue, Mo's at the back. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and I know we'll see you guys next episode. Take care, boys.